Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is the paid request, this time from Fadi. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for the Bourne Identity, the 2002 film that became a huge hit and changed action films for a while because people saw the success critically and commercially of this film, copied it, a lot of times copied it badly, and then we got like a whole decade or more of shaky cam, or this one is more like fast cuts. Probably the sequels were more shaky cam. This is more like just very fast cuts, cut every 2 seconds, 1 second, maybe 3 seconds, blah 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 blah. And it's one of those things where I've always had a big problem with that. And almost like a personal bias, personal animosity toward the Bourne films, in particular this one, because of that. Because I never read the source material. Doug Liman, I've enjoyed some films he has made, Swingers, The Edge of Tomorrow, or just Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise. But there's been other films I wasn't big on. I think he did Jumper. Could be wrong on that. I wasn't big on that. This film stars Matt Damon, who I like as an actor. I do. I just don't really think of him as an action star. I never did. I probably never will. What I think of him is more for like The Martian, The Adjustment Bureau, Good Will Hunting, those movies in particular. Dogma, but not really for actions. But Matt Damon's that bad in the film. He's one of the positives I have with the movie. It's just the plot, the story. It feels like something you've seen many times before, which I know is not a valid criticism because you say that for dozens of movies that I love. But for me, it just didn't do enough interesting things with the plot, the twist, the story that really ever made me intrigued with this film and gave a rat's ass about this film. I always thought this film was boring as hell. I always thought this film was dull as hell. I thought the action scenes sucked and born to kiss my bare ass. I tried to be calm with this. I couldn't. I don't like these films. I do not like this franchise. And it's not because it's popular. I like the John Wick trilogy. I like... I'm trying to think of like action films. The first Taken. But I always thought this plot was so dull. Okay, he's in the sea. He gets found by fishermen. He doesn't know who he is. So the rest of the film is him trying to find out who he is. So he has little to go on. He goes to a bank. He finds the passports. Finds out underneath there's a gun and money and different names. So he takes on one of the names, Jason Bourne. He goes to the American consulate. He's got to escape after fighting 2 or so Marines. Uses some stuff to look at the layout. Escapes. Climbs on a building to further escape. Meets this German lady who they fall in love. And it's just him going from place to place trying to piece together his memory, while you see a lot of the bureaucrats and Treadstone, which is the CIA Black Ops team. You have Chris Cooper. You have Brian Cox, who keeps asking Chris Cooper what's going on, what's happening, handle it, get it taken care of. Julia Stiles is in there in a small role, which I know she would be featured in some of the sequels. I didn't really feel much chemistry between Matt Damon and the German lady. I just didn't feel much of their connection. I didn't really care about their characters. And that's the thing. Jason Bourne, I never cared for this character. I always thought it was boring. I don't care if he finds his memory. I don't care if it never gets found. Maybe it left in the first place because the memory knew how boring his vessel was to keep in this Like, there's not much to remember, so I'm going to take a walk off a pier and be an amnesia at the Jason Bourne, because if we're here, I have nothing to offer, I have nothing to work with. It's not that I think Matt Damon does a bad performance, it's just his character, I thought, was boring as hell. Boring as hell. And the music is very 2000s and sometimes is alright, like Ready Steady Go, or the Separate Ways Moby. I don't mind those songs, but they're not my favorites. It's not like, oh, I think this is a fantastic soundtrack or score. Like I would say the music, the songs, don't mind, but they're not songs I listen to over and over again. Sometimes the score was a bit bothersome. Like, what was the one scene? There, I wrote that down a bit. God, I can't remember. Oh, this is before he has that fight scene with the guy with the cross on his chest, on his shirt. Before it, I'm listening to the soundtrack, and it sounds like, you know, you did a bowl, but it fell on the ground, and has that clatter before it settles. It has that sound. I'm like waiting for it to settle, and then this not quite buzzing, but like a stuttering, like a bug would be, and I have some weird designs on there. And I hate the fight scenes in this. I've always hated the fight scenes in the Bourne films. Yes, there are films I enjoy that has the fast cut editing that I can manage or I could deal with, but then one of the criticisms I have is I wish the fight scenes were done a bit better, not as fast cut, choppy my pee-pee. I never cared for that type of fight scene. I never cared for it. And the fact that this is one of the films that really started that going, I know people say, well, this did it well. I disagree. I think the first Taken accomplished that as well as it could, among other things. Because I think that director, I forget his name because I'm bad with names. That director of the first Taken, I thought had a better handle on action compared to Doug Liman at this point, who had just done films like Swingers. And it's like, well, Matt Damon doesn't know how to do all this stuff, so we gotta hide it. So have cut. And I would watch it and I'd go, what the hell just happened? And I have to rewind 2-3 times to figure out what he just did and what just happened. I know people view it as more realistic or more gritty or more intense. To me, it was more annoying, more bothersome, and we were going, what the hell just happened? Maybe because I'm a guy that grew up with different types of fight scenes, going back to the days of Chuck Norris, Jean-Claude Van Damme, even Bruce Lee, like Jackie Chan, even some of the fights that, Stallone and the Rocky films, and some of the Rambo films, and Arnold, and films like Commando, and I see the way they're edited, and the way they're handled, and the way the cam work is, and I'm so used to that, and I much prefer that. And then when so many films tried to copy this and did an even worse job, like Taken 2, Taken 3, Colombiana, I just get so damn annoyed with it. It's a bothersome thing. And thank God it seems like we're getting our way out of that hole with the John Wick films, the John Wick trilogy especially, and Nobody, and films, and Bullet Train, and other action films of that ilk. Even lesser ones like Atomic Blonde I wasn't big on. I'm not a fan of John Wick 4 because of certain things, but do I enjoy those action scenes more than in this? Yes, I do. I can be honest about that at least. And people either got tired, got annoyed, or they're like me and never liked that crap in the first place. I know people say, well, it's not as bad in this. Again, maybe it's not as shaky like Paul Greengrass would do in sequels compared to Doug Liman in this one, but still that, like when he fights the guy who's one of the assassins, he's got the cross on his shirt, I'm like, he's fighting the guy, but the way it's done is like the guy's here, so you can't really see where Matt Damon's arm is. Did he grab him or something? Then he hits the ankle. Then the next shot, He's got the guy's arm behind his neck. I'm like, when did he do that? I saw he's got the guy, but you know, the bad guy's head's hiding it, hits the ankle. Then all of a sudden, I got your arm behind my neck. When the hell did he do that? I feel like I'm missing something. What happened? And then snap. And that's what I mean, like, that stuff is just irritating to me. And, again, I just did not care about Matt Damon character. Matt Damon, his character's journey of finding his identity. Part of Black Ops. He was supposed to kill this guy. Something happened. He didn't do it. Boom. Got shot. Thrown into the sea. Wasn't dead. Amnesia. Remembering it again. I've seen that plot done so many times before and afterward that just, for me, I didn't see anything that new. Even John Wick. Okay, it's an assassin that wants to retire. But the stuff with the puppy and the assassin world with the gold coins and his relationship with the cop who knows what he does. How's it going, John? You working again? Like, that stuff at least brought some sense to the world that seems a bit unique. And I didn't really have, like, this intense great score that I personally was a fan of. Or action scenes that, oh my god. You know, people are saying this is some of the best fight scenes ever. I've read that, literally. I went, really? I guess we have different strokes for different folks. I'm a righty, you're a lefty. I don't know. As long as you finish at the end, I guess. It's just not for me, the fast cut crap. Like when he beats these two cops in the snow. I'm like, what the hell just happened? That's the point. Oh, the point for me to not know what happened? Great. Just be more of a migraine than anything. And like I said, the German lady, I should get her name, so I stopped calling her just the German lady. She's related to the German guy in Monster Squad. Nothing against the actress, but just Franka Potente as Marie. I just didn't care about her at all. She wasn't a bad actress, but her chemistry, lovey-dovey stuff with Matt Damon's character didn't give a rat's ass. The car chase, meh. That was kind of typical. Maybe it felt refreshing back then, but maybe just looking back when I see the stuff in the later Mission Impossible films, and even before this, films like The French Connection and To Live and Die in L.A. and even Cobra, I just see much more interesting, entertaining, exciting car chases. Hell, I'll say this. There was a guy named Davey Vids who was nice enough to send me a request for the Bourne Conspiracy. I raged at it because I didn't know how to play the game correctly and I sucked at it. I had a more fun time playing that game, and in fact, it makes me want to play that game again, only it might be on this PlayStation 3 mod, so maybe on the PlayStation 3 version, if I, get the time to do it. I would like to play that game again. Because I had more fun with that game. That's kind of based on this, but they couldn't get Matt Damon because he didn't want to do it. And I'm like, that was a more fun time playing that game than watching this movie. And then you have the fight scene with the guy, one of the assassins with the cross on his shirt. I like the idea of using the pen and doing it, but again, just the way it's edited, just the way it's cut, just annoyed the hell out of me. I like to actually see what's going on. I like to actually see what the hell's happening. That's just how I am. I like the idea of stabbing the guy and the pen stuck in his hand. And then the guy jumps out the window because he doesn't want to be taken alive. Probably one of the scenes that were okay was with the professor, another assassin, Clive Owen, fairly young Clive Owen, where Matt Damon has the shotgun and there's a field and the professor using a sniper rifle, so Matt Damon shoots a tank to give some cover, steers some birds so that Clive Owen notices and figures he needs to move to a different position, which gives away his position, and Matt Damon can see him and follow him. Although they took it one step further in the video game, where you enter like this barn or whatever and have this shootout with them and big old fight. So I thought it was even more entertaining in the game than the movie. Like, Clive Owen seemed like he could be an interesting character, but they kill him off very quickly. Like this guy that was in the same boat as Matt Damon, and they both have this history of this Black Ops CIA Treadstone thing, but they kill him off so quickly. Obviously, they didn't know there'd be Bourne Supremacy, Ultimatum, Jason Bourne, all that stuff. Then it's pretty much this. He's supposed to meet Chris Cooper and realize he's being set up, so he leaves and gets out and away from Chris Cooper's character. Breaks in, takes Julia Stiles hostage, gets some information, finds some info about himself, tosses to Chris Cooper. Cooper tells him what happened. He was supposed to kill this guy. I can't pronounce the actor's name, but he was Killer Croc in the first Suicide Squad movie. But Jason Bourne couldn't do it because his kids were there. He tries to escape. He got shot. He lost his memory. He's like, I'm done with this. Bad guys shoot at the safe house. Can we stop with this? I mean, people say, well, the film's realistic. Forgive me for being stupid on this, but is it realistic to take a guy, throw him off, be on his back, fall 7 stories? Like, the staircase. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then land on the ground and not die? Maybe you could do that. Maybe you can. Although you would think you would at least break your legs or something. He was knocked out for a bit. But it's like he goes all the way down, lands on the guy, again from like 7 stories. Is that 100% realistic? I only point that out because people just say, oh, it's so realistic, so realistic. I mean, it's all flights of fancy. It's all escapism, entertainment. I just didn't find this film entertaining. And then, by the end, Chris Cooper gets killed because Brian Cox is tired of this and wants to just move on. Matt Damon finds Marie, and they reunite. Not that it matters, because by the time you get to the second one, she dies, and then he wants revenge. You should have left me alone. And the Ultimatum, I can't remember the plot of that, because most of the plots felt like the same damn movie over and over and over again, to be honest. It really did. It just felt like it was the same movie I saw over and over again. And I get it. It made a lot of money. It made a ton of money. It got a lot of good critical reviews. It became a franchise. And of course, you also have the Bourne Legacy with Jeremy Renner. You have that one too. So, technically, there's been 5 films. And was each of the sequels directed by Paul Greengrass? Yeah, he did the second film. He did the third film. Tony Gilroy did the Jeremy Renner one. And who did the last one? Was that Paul Greengrass? So Paul Greengrass did 2, 3, and 5. So Doug Liman never came back to direct one, which I think is interesting. He would choose not to do that ever again. Like I said, I mean, Swingers I liked. Go I don't mind. Mr. and Mrs. Smith I would say I enjoyed more than this. Jumper I'm not a fan of. Edge of Tomorrow is my favorite of his. Oh, he did that Chaos Walking. He did the new Roadhouse, which I didn't see. No one had requested that, so I never bothered seeing that. Again, like, I watched this film again, I'm sitting there going, okay, I don't care about the plot or the story. Jason Bourne just feels like a dull, boring character to me. I don't mind Matt Damon as an actor. I just not really into him as an action star. I don't know how else to put it. I don't know how else to word it. Yes, even Ben Affleck I got more into, and Paycheck. As much as people get pissed because I got more into the gimmick of the items and how are they used and the sci-fi elements and the John Woo little touch, even though it's PG-13. So no, it's not as good as Hard Target or Hard Boiled, but I liked it. And Aaron Eckhart and Joel Morton and some of the supporting cast, I got more entertainment out of that than the Bourne Identity. I just never got the hype. I never got the praise for this film. If I'm looking at, okay, what are 2002 action films that came out also as this? The first Transporter I enjoyed more. Triple X, I enjoyed that one more. With Vin Diesel. What else do we have here? Okay, this is not showing all of them. That's weird. Yeah, the Transporter, Triple X, Equilibrium. I enjoyed much more than this. Collateral Damage. I enjoyed more than this. We Were Soldiers is a war film, but I enjoy that more than this. Phone Booth, I would call it. It's just a thriller, so that's not an action film. But yes, I did enjoy that more than this. Dog Soldiers is horror, but there's action in it. I enjoy Blade 2, more horror, but there's action. I enjoy that more than this. I mean, no, this isn't as bad as Rollerball remake. You know, it's not as bad as, you know, The Tuxedo with Jackie Chan and other stuff. I'd probably still rather watch this than The Sum of All Fears, talking about Ben Affleck. But I know a lot of people liked it. I know this is a very divisive video, but like I said, I tried to watch the film again. I did watch all the way through, and I don't get the hype. I don't get the hoopla. I don't get the love. I didn't even the same year, Blade 2, Minority Report I liked more, Equilibrium. You know, that's just me though. With that said, thanks for watching. Take care. People disagree, that's fine. I think I could never get into this. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.